The Millionaire Mind, by Thomas J. Stanley, Ph.D. Introduction. There's a story I want to share with you. It's about a man named Gene, who was in the salvage business. He bought properties that banks had to foreclose on, homes, shopping centers, apartment buildings that people couldn't afford anymore. One day, after closing a huge deal, a senior executive at the bank walked him over to the towering window of his top-floor office. The view was breathtaking. They could see for miles across the city, a sprawling landscape of office buildings, homes, and businesses. The banker pointed out at the horizon, at the thousands of buildings shimmering in the distance, and said something that Gene never forgot. He said, "We own it all of it. The business out there, you borrowers just run these businesses for us. You guys run them for us, the financial institutions." Think about that for a moment. How many people do we see who look successful, driving fancy cars, living in massive houses, but are really just working to make payments to someone else? They have the appearance of wealth, but they are controlled by their debt. They're running on a treadmill, trying to keep up with the lifestyle they think they're supposed to have. But there's another group of people. A much smaller, quieter group. They aren't controlled by anyone. They live in beautiful homes, but they don't have massive mortgages. They are financially free. They enjoy life, but they aren't addicted to spending. These are the people with what researcher drive. Thomas J. Stanley calls the millionaire mind. After the incredible success of his first book, The Millionaire Next Door, which sold millions of copies and shocked the world by revealing that most millionaires live surprisingly modest lives, Stanley went deeper. He wanted to understand not just what they did, but how they thought. He surveyed over 700 millionaires, asking them hundreds of questions about their beliefs, their habits, their fears, and their keys to success. The result is The Millionaire Mind. This isn't just a book about money, it's a book about character. It's a blueprint for a life of freedom, integrity, and purpose. And by the end of our time together today, I promise you will understand the 5 foundational pillars that nearly every self-made millionaire credits for their success. They are not what you see in the movies, and they are not what you hear on the news. This isn't about stock tips or get-rich-quick schemes. This is about building a mind that creates wealth as a byproduct of a life well lived. So, let's explore what it truly means to have a millionaire mind. Book summary. So if the millionaire life isn't about jumbo mortgages and flashy cars, who are these people? When Stanley pulled back the curtain, the person he found wasn't a Wall Street tycoon or a Hollywood celebrity. The typical millionaire he surveyed was a 54-year-old man, married to the same woman for 28 years, with 3 children. 92% of them were married. They are, for the most part, in stable, traditional families. And here's where it gets interesting. Most of them are self-made. 61% never received any inheritance at all. No financial gifts, no trust funds. They started from zero. They didn't marry into money, and they didn't win the lottery. They built their wealth, brick by brick, over their lifetime. They live in nice homes, yes, but not the sprawling mansions you might imagine. The typical millionaire in the study lived in a home they bought over a decade ago, often in a well-established, upper-middle-class neighborhood. And here's the key difference from the banker's view of the world. Most of them have little to no mortgage debt. They own their homes, their cars, and their businesses. They are not working for the bank. The bank isn't a part of their daily thoughts. Stanley calls these people the balance sheet affluent. They focus on their net worth, what they own minus what they owe. This is completely different from the income statement affluent, the people who have big incomes, but also big expenses, big debts, and very little to show for it in the end. The income statement affluent look rich. The balance sheet affluent are rich. And that is the fundamental distinction that sets the stage for everything else. So how did they do it? How did they become balance sheet affluent in a single generation? Drive. Stanley asked them directly. He gave them a list of 30 potential success factors and asked them to rank how important each one was. The answers are the heart of this book, and they might change the way you look at success forever. What do you think was number 1? Being a genius? Graduating from a top school? Investing in the hottest stocks? Luck? None of the above. The top 5 most important factors for their economic success were these. First, being honest with all people. Integrity. Second, being well-disciplined. Self-control. Third, getting along with people. Social skills. Fourth, having a supportive spouse. And fifth, working harder than most people. Let that sink in. These aren't financial strategies. They are character traits. They are virtues. This is the first and most powerful lesson of the millionaire mind. Wealth is a byproduct of character. Let's start with that first one, integrity. Being honest with all people. 57% of millionaires rated this as very important, tying it for the number 1 spot. In business, in life, your reputation is everything. One millionaire, John Barry, shared a lesson his father taught him. He said, "Never tell one lie. If you tell one lie, you will have to eventually tell 15 more to cover up the first lie, and then each of those 15 requires another 15. The math gets out of control very quickly. It's simply more productive, more efficient, to always tell the truth." People with integrity are trusted. They get the best clients, the most loyal employees, and the most enduring partnerships. You cannot build a sustainable fortune on a foundation of deceit. The second pillar is discipline. This is the engine that drives success. It's the ability to do what you need to do, when you need to do it, whether you feel like it or not. It's the self-control to live below your means, to save and invest your money instead of spending it on things that lose value. It's the discipline to stay focused on your goals, year after year, even when it's difficult. And where does luck fall on this list? All the way down at number 27 out of 30. The millionaires in this study would tell you that they make their own luck. As one of them famously said, "The harder I work, the luckier I get." They don't wait for a lottery ticket to change their lives. They build their lives one disciplined decision at a time. The third pillar is social skills, getting along with people. You see, no one achieves great success alone. I'm reminded of a wonderful story drive. Stanley tells about the legendary football coach, Paul Bear Bryant. A former player of his, now a successful executive, recalled his first day as a freshman athlete at Alabama. Coach Bryant gathered all the new scholarship players and asked them a simple question: "Have you called your folks yet to thank them?" The players were stunned. They expected a talk about drills or expectations. But the coach's message was profound. He said, "No one ever got to this level without the help of others. That's a lesson for football, and it's a lesson for life." Success is a team sport. Your ability to connect with people, to lead them, to inspire them, and to earn their respect is far more important than your individual genius. This includes the ability to sell your ideas. Not just products, but your vision, your plans, your dreams. A great salesman named Billy Gilmore demonstrated this perfectly. He was helping drive Stanley with a seminar for a major corporation. Before the event, Billy found out the national sales manager's wife's jeans size. But he did something clever. He had a dozen pairs of custom jeans made for her, but had the label say size 8, 2 sizes smaller than her actual size. The note said they were from Drive Stanley. The manager was so thrilled, his wife was so happy that the entire seminar was a massive success. leading to more business for Drive. Stanley for years to come. Billy understood a fundamental rule. It's not about you. It's about making others feel good. Me, me, me is dull, 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 as his mother taught him. The fourth pillar, having a supportive spouse, is a force multiplier. 8 out of 10 millionaires said this was crucial to their success. Your choice of a life partner is the most important decision you will ever make. It's not about marrying for money. In fact, most millionaires chose their spouses long before they were wealthy. They chose partners who shared their values: honesty, responsibility, love, capability, and support. Think of Paulette Rakestraw, who started a direct mail business from her apartment as a young, divorced mother. She met her husband Vaughn, and what drew her to him wasn't wealth, but his caring nature and how he treated her daughter. He was a saver, she was a risk-taker. He encouraged caution, she pushed for action. Together, they built a powerful partnership and a company with Fortune 500 clients. Their differences didn't divide them, they complemented each other. A supportive spouse is someone who believes in you, especially when you doubt yourself, and who shares the same long-term vision for your life. Finally, there's hard work. This isn't about being a workaholic and sacrificing your family and health. It's about focused, efficient, and passionate effort. 47% of millionaires said working harder than most people was very important. But listen to this, even more of them, 51% of business owners, said that loving my career or business was a key to their success. When you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like a mission. It's a labor of love. So we have the 5 pillars: integrity, discipline, social skills, a supportive spouse, and hard work. But now we come to the most shocking discovery in the millionaire mind. The one that turns our entire idea of success on its head. It's about what doesn't matter as much as we think. It's about school. What if I told you that graduating at the top of your class has almost nothing to do with becoming a millionaire? In fact, for some, it might even be a handicap. How can that be? The data is undeniable. The average undergraduate GPA for the millionaires in this study was 2.92 on a 4.0 scale. The average SAT score was 1,190. That's solid, but it's not genius level. It wouldn't get you into the most elite, competitive colleges. In fact, only 11% of millionaires said that graduating near the top of my class was very important to their success. Only 15% said attending a top-rated college was very important. And only 20% said that having a high IQ or superior intellect was a key factor. This is incredible. Everything we're told about success, get perfect grades, score high on your tests, go to the best school, is, according to the people who have actually achieved massive financial success, not the main story. So what's going on here? Drive. Stanley tells the story of a man named James X. Patrick. In the 3rd grade, his teacher, Sister Eileen, divided the class into 3 groups. The smart kids in the front rows, the average kids in the middle, and the dumb kids in the back. James was put in the back row. Why? Because of his poor penmanship and spelling. Today, Drive. James X. Patrick holds a PhD and is a multi-millionaire owner of 3 businesses. He still can't spell very well. He says, with a laugh, "I must have been the smartest kid in the dumb row." His story reveals a crucial truth. The school system often rewards a very narrow type of intelligence, what we might call analytical intelligence, the kind measured by tests like the SAT. It rewards conformity, memorization, and following rules. But the real world, the world of business and innovation, rewards a different kind of intelligence. Drive. Stanley points to the work of psychologist Robert Sternberg, who defines successful intelligence as having three parts: analytical intelligence, the book Smart School measures; creative intelligence, the ability to see new solutions and opportunities; and practical intelligence, common sense, or street smarts. Millionaires might have an average GPA, but they are off the charts in creative and practical intelligence. They see opportunities that others miss. They question authority. They think differently from the crowd. Warren Bielke is a perfect example. He was an average student, but he went on to become a millionaire by getting involved in the startup and financing of 7 different medical device companies. He believes so strongly in the power of average students that he created a $1 million scholarship fund at his old high school specifically for students with average grades, good attendance, and a positive attitude. Why? He says, the smart kids, sometimes it's too easy for them. Sometimes they miss opportunities because they don't have to get involved and work so hard. The average kids get involved and come across more opportunities. For many of these millionaires, not being labeled intellectually gifted was a blessing in disguise. It taught them a vital lesson early on: hard work is more important than raw talent. They learned that they would have to outwork, out-hustle, and outthink the competition. Being told you're not good enough can either defeat you, or it can forge an unbreakable will to succeed. For the people with the millionaire mind, it became fuel for their fire. 72% of the millionaires who scored under 1,000 on their SATs said that a key experience was learning to fight for our goals because someone labeled us as having average or less ability. This brings us to the next critical idea: vocation, vocation, vocation. It's one of the most important decisions of your life, what you choose to do for a living. Drive. Stanley uses a brilliant metaphor from military history to explain this. During World War II, there were 2 fighter pilot aces, Paul Rossman and Eric Hartmann, who had a unique strategy. Most pilots engaged in dogfights, chaotic, close-range battles where physical strength and raw nerve were key. But Rossman had an injured arm. He couldn't survive a dogfight. So he developed a different method. He would study the battlefield, analyze targets of opportunity, and only attack when he had a decisive advantage. He substituted calculation for brute force. He taught this method to his protege, Hartmann, who went on to become the ace of aces, with 352 confirmed victories, more than anyone in history. The lesson? Where you choose to fight is more important than how hard you fight. Many smart, talented people jump into crowded, highly competitive fields, the dogfights. They become one of thousands of lawyers, or MBAs, or corporate managers, all competing for a few top spots. But the millionaires with creative intelligence do what Rossman did. They find a niche. They look for a business opportunity where there is strong demand but few suppliers. They don't follow the crowd. They create their own market. This is the story of Mr. Richard. He grew up in an upper-middle-class home and went to prep school. You'd think he'd become a doctor or a lawyer. Instead, he owns a junkyard for 18-wheeler truck parts in the Deep South. Why? Because while working for a truck company, he saw that a wrecked truck they sold to a junk dealer for $500 was worth many times that when sold for parts. The junk dealer sold the engine right back to them for $500. A light bulb went on. He saw an opportunity everyone else dismissed as junk. Today, he makes over $700,000 a year, has almost no competition, and loves his job. He says, find a very profitable market niche. Otherwise, you can beat your brains out if everybody else is doing the same thing. He found a place to compete where there was no dogfight. The key is to combine this search for a niche with something you are passionate about. If you can find a unique business that you truly love, your chances of success skyrocket. Your work becomes a joy, and that passion translates into the energy and creativity needed to win. But even with the right vocation, there will be challenges. And this requires another key component of the millionaire mind: courage. Almost all self-made millionaires have courage. The courage to be self-employed, to invest in their own business, to take financial risks when others are paralyzed by fear. But what is courage? It's not the absence of fear. Drive. Stanley makes this crystal clear. Every successful entrepreneur he interviewed admitted to feeling fear. Courage is acting in spite of fear. The millionaires in the study have developed techniques to manage their fear. The number one method? Hard work and preparation. They do their homework. They study the odds. They plan meticulously. They replace fear with knowledge. They also believe in themselves. They visualize success. And for nearly 4 in 10, they draw strength from a strong religious faith. And what about risk? There is a powerful, direct correlation between a willingness to take financial risk and net worth. The wealthiest people are the biggest risk takers. But this is not gambling. In fact, there's a strong negative correlation between wealth and playing the lottery. The richer you are, the less likely you are to play. Why? Because millionaires understand probability. They know the lottery is a game with terrible odds, designed for you to lose. They take calculated risks where they have some degree of control or expertise. The biggest risk they take? Investing in themselves and their own businesses. They believe, as one said, that the real risk is letting someone else control your career. When you work for a large company, your fate can be decided by a handful of executives in a boardroom you'll never see. When you own your own business, you are in control of your own destiny. Finally, how do these people live? We've touched on their mindset, their education, their careers. But what about their daily lives? They run what drive? Stanley calls an economically productive household. This is where the famous stories from the Millionaire Next Door come alive. 70% of them regularly have their shoes resoled and repaired. Nearly half have their furniture reupholstered or refinished instead of buying new. They use shopping lists. They buy in bulk at warehouse stores. Again, this isn't about being cheap. It's about being smart. They understand the difference between consumption and investment. A new sofa might look nice, but it loses value the moment it leaves the store. A high-quality antique, on the other hand, can be used for decades and might even appreciate in value. They are not first cost sensitive, they are life cycle cost sensitive. They think long-term. They apply the same logic to their biggest purchase, their home. The average millionaire lives in a home worth far less than what they could afford. They don't see their home primarily as a status symbol, but as an investment and a place to raise their family. That's why they overwhelmingly choose to buy existing homes in well-established neighborhoods with excellent public schools. Why? Because these neighborhoods have a proven track record of appreciating in value. It's a much safer, smarter investment than building a massive, custom dream home in a brand new, unproven subdivision. Only 27% of millionaires have ever had a custom home built for them. They know that building a home is a time-consuming, expensive, and risky process. As one millionaire said, it's better to buy out of existing inventory. And what about their lifestyle? What do they do for fun? If you were to follow a millionaire around for a month, you might be surprised. The most frequent activities reported were socializing with children and grandchildren, entertaining close friends, and planning investments. They are, as drive. Stanley puts it, a cheap date. Their lives revolve around family, friends, and financial planning. They go to museums, they are active in their communities, and they raise funds for charity. They are more likely to be found at their kids' soccer game than on a yacht in Monaco. In fact, over a 12-month period, the number one activity reported was consulting with a tax expert. That tells you everything you need to know about their focus. Their lifestyle isn't a substitute for wealth building, it's a complement to it. Entertaining friends can lead to business contacts. Raising money for charity builds a reputation for integrity and connects them with other successful people. It's all part of a cohesive, purposeful life. So, when you piece it all together, the focus on character, the surprising unimportance of grades, the search for a unique vocation, the courage to take calculated risks, and a lifestyle of discipline and purpose, you get a clear picture of the millionaire mind. It's not about being born with a silver spoon. It's not about being a genius. It's about thinking differently from the crowd. It's about realizing that the path to true wealth isn't paved with gold, but with integrity, discipline, and the courage to build a life on your own terms. Commentary. As we step back and look at the portrait drive, Stanley has painted, what is the most powerful lesson we can take away from the millionaire mind? For me, it's a profound sense of empowerment. The message of this book is that financial success is not a destiny reserved for a chosen few. It's not about genetics, or luck, or the school you went to. It is the result of a specific mindset and a series of deliberate choices that are available to anyone willing to adopt them. In a world that is obsessed with the outward symbols of success, the flashy cars, the designer clothes, the extravagant vacations, this book is a refreshing and deeply important reminder that true wealth is built from the inside out. It starts with your character. Are you honest? Are you disciplined? Do you treat people well? These aren't just moral questions. Drive. Stanley's research proves they are also fundamental economic questions. The most freeing idea for any young person listening to this is the de-emphasis on academic perfection. How many of us have stressed over a single grade, or felt that our future was defined by a test score? This book tells us that while education is important, your GPA is not your destiny. Your creativity, your work ethic, your courage, and your ability to connect with others will carry you far further than a perfect report card. The world needs more than just good test takers. It needs creative problem solvers, tenacious entrepreneurs, and inspiring leaders. So, how can you start cultivating a millionaire mind right now? Here are 3 simple, practical actions you can take today. First, redefine your idea of success for 1 week. Instead of thinking about money or achievements, focus entirely on the 5 pillars we talked about. At the end of each day, ask yourself, was I honest in all my interactions? Was I disciplined with my time and energy? Did I treat people with respect and kindness? Did I support the people I care about? Did I work hard on the things that matter? Making these virtues your compass will, over time, lead you to the right opportunities. Second, start thinking like a niche finder. Instead of asking, what job pays the most? Or what's the most popular career? Start asking a different set of questions. What problem do I see that no one is solving well? What unique skill or passion do I have that I could apply in a new way? Where is the dogfight in my field of interest, and how can I avoid it? Start training your mind to see the opportunities that are hidden in plain sight, often disguised as junk or boring businesses. Third, conduct a simple lifestyle audit. For the next 7 days, pay close attention to where your time and money go. How much is spent on things that lose value versus things that grow in value? Like a book, a course, a small investment in a business idea, or even just quality time spent with a mentor? The goal isn't to stop having fun. The goal is to become conscious of your choices. The millionaire mind is, above all, a conscious mind. It doesn't drift through life. It navigates with intention. Ultimately, the journey described in The Millionaire Mind is about more than just accumulating a 7-figure net worth. It's about building a life of independence, integrity, and meaning. It's about owning yourself, not just owning assets. It's about the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you built your success on a foundation of solid character, and that is a fortune no one can ever take away from you. We've journeyed through the core ideas of the millionaire mind today, but a map is never the same as the territory. We've hit the highlights, But I'll be honest with you, a summary can only take you so far. The real magic happens when you read the book yourself. It's in the quiet moments, when a particular story or a simple phrase hits you in a way you didn't expect. This summary is designed to help you decide if this book is worth your time. If anything we've talked about today has resonated with you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just learning, it's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see yourself, your potential, and the path to a truly rich life. The link to the book is in the description. Also, if you found this summary valuable, and you want to continue exploring the ideas that shape the world's most successful people, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the Billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep growing together.